Call a meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion for this evening's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Move on to public comment. If you could please provide your name, address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less, we'd appreciate it. Gary, take it fast.
I just had a couple questions.
Yes.
I could wait till the end.
Okay.
I'll do.
All right.
The restrictions on the deputy highway superintendent. Is that subject to a business referendum?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't hear.
That be subjected to a permissive referendum.
What?
Oh, the deputy
Deputy
highway
Highway Superintendent.
coming down.
Oh, for a local law. Not that I'm aware of. Right.
So would I confirm that one way or another before the hearing?
My only comment would be that I believe to change the highway superintendent would require a permissive referendum under our law or whatever. And if they have to step into that position, they're then not qualified. That would be my concern.
Thank you.
The purchase of the new truck that's on the agenda. That'll be the third new truck that'll be going into service this year. And I don't know what that has to do, whether that will disrupt the rotation of the trucks. Theoretically, 10 years down the road, you would have now to have to purchase 3 new trucks again. I don't know whether the budget would hold on to. I'm not sure which trucks are being replaced, whether they're all going to be 10-wheelers replaced or what. Or are you going to large fleet? Which probably would be a bad idea. Whatever. And then I think that's it.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to communications. Shall?
I attended both Memorial Day parades and ceremonies. I volunteered at the Mendon Carnival and participated in their parade also. I sent over my final 2025 town and county taxes today, so that's all done. We collected all but just over 406,000 of the total, so we got about 97% of it in, which is good. I received and distributed the proposed solar farm that Victor's doing. And I know Corey was looking for any comments that anybody had by tomorrow. So just a reminder. And the Pilchers on Pond Road were approved for a fireworks display on Friday, June 13th. For a party they're having. So they'll be get some comments on that, I'm sure. All the insurance and certificates have been received and are in file. Pittsburgh filed their municipal sewer agreement. This last month, May 15th. And that was right when I was talking about the sewer.
That was close. I saw the flash. I thought
Yeah,
very
it
close
is too.
between the fire and the lake.
And the fire department brought their final financial statement in today from the car. So yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Voorhees.
Okay, brush pickups being completed. We started roadside mowing, probably about 50% down the first pass. Pipe's been installed at the splash park for the drainage issue over there. Everything seemed to work fine there. We milled and paved Plains and Schofield Road. And some of the millings went to John and Rick Mine Salsa on Clover Street. Couple loads went to a gentleman at 62 Plains Road. And a couple loads went to a gentleman at 24 Silly Road. And the rest is stockpiled at the highway department and no millions left the town. Everything stayed within the town. Bird netting's been installed in salt barn. We provided 2 10-wheel dump trucks for the Memorial Day Parade and 3 for the Fireman's Carnival for traffic control. And highway employee Ryan Tillage, he's received his New York State EC erosion sediment control training. So now we can legally do roadside ditching. And next week we are planning on, well, we were planning on Stone and Oil and Mendon Center and Parish Road. Suco stopped in today, they pushed that off.
Thank you. Brent?
Yes, I attended the General Lafayette ceremony on June 7th in the Hamlet. I also participated in both Memorial Day parades and ceremonies, volunteered at the Mendon Carnival and participated in that Saturday parade as well. The planning board had a meeting on June 2nd. There were 2 public hearings. Both of them had concern from the neighbors voiced during the public hearings of the proposed projects. The one was a subdivision without a site plan on Chateau Place. The neighbor concerns were generated from having no site plan. They seemed to ease once they learned that an approved site plan is required before a house can be built. That was approved with conditions. The second application was an existing special use permit amendment for a riding academy on Cheese Factory Road. The concerns about the subject property and neighbors' properties impacting each other's was made during the public hearing. Due to those concerns, the planning board has requested more information before they act on that proposed amendment. On June 18th, we have a scheduled reapproval of a site plan that expired due to no substantial action. Just remember, you have a year once you get site plan approval to do something substantial. Usually it's a driveway cut. So if you don't do that, they have to come back, get approved again. Met with today the planning board secretary, code enforcement officer, and a developer to discuss application procedures for a 15+ lot conceptual subdivision along Mendon Ionia Road. There were some emails and some phone calls going back and forth. Decided it was probably easier just to sit down at the table to discuss. It was a very productive meeting, and an understanding was reached of the developer's concerns versus the town's perspective and the code requirements. I think everybody was happy when we left that meeting. MCBA, I attended the beautification of the Hamlet on May 17th. The HFL robotics team was there. They did very good helping, and Mendon Foundation head gardener was there giving direction to everybody. That was quite a success. The MCBA has inquired to the availability of personnel, a town plow truck, and a piece of equipment for the Hamlet Festival, Sunday, September 7th. That would be from 12 to 5, something that's been provided sometimes in the past. I don't think we've done it the past couple of years. If we can talk about how that could be arranged, right? It's if the kids climb on the equipment, blow the air horns, they have a grand old time. Met with MRB in the month of May. We reviewed the progress of the active list of projects, which I think our engineer has sent out to all of our other board members. I had a meeting was held with a resident to discuss potential easement for a sidewalk project along Victor Mendon Road. Resident expressed willingness to meet with the town and MRB for future further discussions, and a meeting will be arranged. Met with residents on Clover Street and Stony Lonesome Road regarding the required wetland delineation to address DEC comments for the Stony Lonesome project. Successful obtaining signatures from both residents, and they're granting permission for the DEC to access their property to delineate these wetlands. This, because they gave us the permission, this is saving the town weeks, if not months of time on this project and many dollars in engineering fees. The feedback I got from the residents during the discussions was very positive for the Stony Lonesome project. We'll be meeting with MRB virtually tomorrow and June 24th for additional discussions on these projects and other ones. Have been attending meetings every other week at the highway department with the supervisor, highway superintendent, and various personnel from multiple departments. The highway department personnel has requested CPR classes. I obtained a contact from the instructor that did the Mendon Fire Department CPR classes. He is a fireman over in the Fishers District. I'm thinking it'll just be simpler if I give your department, Tom, that contact information so you can get a price and figure out if it, where it fits into our procurement policy, and if you can just take care of it, be out of it, being slowing it down. Collaborated with the highway department on that redirecting of the stormwater from the splash pad flows and the splash pad flows at Dreisbach. This is facilitating the filling operations that are starting to happen at Dreisbach, and it's really worked out very well. It's reviewed with the highway department, the additional fill areas at 101 Semmel Road to facilitate future highway department operations with not affecting the wetlands. And with the highway department personnel attaining the stormwater training, I think this is very important. It's increasing the talent pool at the town to complete SWIP inspections as well as the ditching. And this helps us perform things that we would normally have to hire consultants to do, SWIP inspections. I attended an introduction to governmental accounting school. This was virtual on May 21st and May 22nd. Continuing to improve in these areas, it's a benefit to the town, although some town personnel, I think, kind of a pain in the butt because I come back with a lot more questions to ask them. And I'm happy to share my workbooks and any of my notes or discuss with any board members if they wish to review what there was. I will also be attending accounting principles and procedures. This is the next class after those May classes, the next level. This is also virtual on June 11th and 12th. And once again, my offer to share my workbooks notes with any board member is extended here as well. Continued meetings with Don Young, code enforcement officer, supervisor for zoning law revisions, proposed zoning law revisions. Based off of these, I had a meeting last week with Mr. Mertzke, HPC members, and the town historian about EPOD 5. I felt it was a very productive meeting. We'll have more discussions about that tonight on the agenda. Met with MRB, developers, engineer of record, CEO, highway superintendent, and the supervisor at Mendon Green. There was multiple items that were being discussed via email and phone calls, and it was just easier to meet on site and hash out discussion points of all interested parties. I think we're moving forward to address all of those items as well. That's all I have. I hope I got done under my 3 minutes.
Thank you. Kim?
Wow, I don't have nearly as stuff. There has not been a zoning board of appeals meeting since we last met, so I have nothing to report there. There is a meeting for community field use, which is scheduled for Monday, June 23rd. There are 7 key stakeholders who plan on attending, and I will be able to report in July from the results of that meeting. And the lights and flowers in the hamlet look great, so I want to thank everyone who worked on those.
Cindy?
Yeah, I attended the library board meeting on June 2nd. They have book displays up for Immigrant Heritage Month and Pride Month, an exhibit titled High Hopes, Immigration and the Erie Canal. It's on loan from the Erie Canal Museum and will be up on the library's display wall through June, and I have a copy of that. The Friends Flower Sale was a success again. The New York State 2026 budget was finalized and includes an appropriation of $325 million for operating aid throughout the state. And this is a $2.473 million increase over 2025. And that's the first time since 2009 that the funding has reached or surpassed what is statutory under New York State law. Lila has been appointed as small librarians liaison to the MCLS service system and operations committee, which meets once a month via Zoom. The library staff is working on a collaborative book discussion event with Fleet House to take place in November. And the library would like to use remaining teen grant funds for a project in which teen volunteers reestablish the rain garden beside the sidewalk leading to Monroe Street pending town of Mendon approval. And they would also like to purchase a few Adirondack chairs with funds from the Friends to place on the grassy area in front of the library pending storage for the winter. And the summer reading program registration will open on July 11th. And then on June 25th, they'll kick off summer reading program. And the library staff was able to discuss the Sustainable Library Initiative, summer reading and policy revision during their half-day training session. That's it.
I have a couple of questions. Albert, Lila's appointed to the MLCS. What
Let me
is,
find that one. Was appointed to the Small Libraries Liaison to the MCLS System Services and Operations Committee, which meets once a month via Zoom.
so is that Monroe County
Mhm.
Library System?
Yeah.
And then, rain gardens, if that is possible to spend those funds, can we coordinate with our engineer through the library to make sure that those rain gardens are supposed to have certain plants in
Right,
there, and
right.
sometimes, it looks like weeds to somebody, but it's serving a purpose. If it is possible to spend those grant funds. Make
I mean,
sure,
yeah. You want me to get back to Lila with that? Work with,
I think that's a good idea.
I was over there and spoke to Lila recently and we had the same discussion.
oh,
I
okay.
also wanted, she talked about some teens planting and I was just a little concerned about, any of the utilities that might be over there. I didn't want to, as long as they're have some supervision.
Okay.
Or we should get a stakeout if they're, I
Right.
don't know, I don't know how.
You might have to
aggressive
do that. That might be,
Yeah, we probably have the plans in the original landscaping plan too, that we share with her, and maybe it's gotten
okay.
died back and never got replaced.
Okay. I'll send her an email and let her know that, what you said. Is that okay with you, John?
Oh, yes. And then there is a 284, 2 copies of the 284 agreement in plastic in front of you. And if you would like to sign those two tonight, I can get a copy to the highway.
Okay.
Jim?
Yeah, the Environmental Conservation Board met twice, since we, last met. They had a special meeting on the 20th of May where they discussed, the Monroe County Climate Action Plan. I think we discussed that last meeting as well. And their plan, to present that to this town board. At their regular meeting on June 3rd, they continued that discussion. They felt that this time their original goal was to come to this meeting to make that presentation. They didn't feel that they were quite there yet with the presentation. They are working on a resolution. And we talked a little bit and hopefully I gave them some good information on how special committees are formed, and so they were working through that, and their goal is the July 14th meeting. They also discussed, there was, I think, one of the applications before the planning board that Brent talked about, that was a resubmittal from 2023 application, and there wasn't any change. It was just an expiration of their approval. So that was the Conservation Board. Historic Preservation met on the 4th. They did review again another application, and I think it's that Chateau Place one for the subdivision. Again, there was no changes for that. They did discuss in a little bit more detail the meeting that Brent and I had with some members of that. I think they're very happy to be included in the conversation of getting EPOD number 5 done, complete in the code. They were, I think, very happy that all of that was moving ahead. And the historian reported on, she's still working on the project of the letters from Zebulon Norton's grandson. And they were also had quite a time looking for some paint for the boxcar at Rochester Junction. So that's where she stood, so. Other than that, that's all
Thank you. Recently I renewed our CD at Canandaigua National Bank. It renewed at 4.2%. It's a 90-day renewal. Attending the bi-weekly meetings at the Highway Department, which have gone very well. We had that meeting at Mendon Green, and I sent out a letter to the residents of Pittsburgh that border Mendon Green, advising them of the 101-foot buffer, who owns it. And we've had one permissive referendum matured, which I moved the funding for that, and we have another one coming up on Wednesday. We're in the process of scheduling I think we already have scheduled the defensive driving course. Do we have a date? I think we do.
Yeah.
September for employees. So anybody who is, opened it up for family members of employees, but of course those family, you have to pay for those family members. Excuse me. We had a vehicle damaged last July on West Main Street. Town of Mendon was doing county road, and there was damage to a car. The damage was reported the next day. Damage, the previous highway superintendent sent it to the county. County kicked it back. Then it was sent to our insurance company. By the time it got to our insurance company, I think it was in November. The 90-day window had expired. I know I said it.
Yeah, essentially you have 90 days to serve a notice of claim on a municipality prior to commencing an action. Now someone can seek leave through a court to file a late notice of claim. My understanding is that's done at this time, but that's something that could be done.
So the individual with the damage is a resident, and they have contacted me. This should have been sent to our insurance company right away. The fact that that it was a county job, still should have been sent to our insurance company. So anyway, long story short is that I did feel that the individuals didn't really do anything wrong. They reported it the next day. Car hit, towed, etc., damage to rims, one or more rims. So I was going to, with the board's permission, I was going to reach out to the people and kind of see if we could come to some kind of a mutual agreement on this, because I don't really think they did anything wrong. I wasn't there to see the incident, but I do know that the next day, the highway department was putting asphalt around all the manhole covers on West Main Street after that incident. So unless someone has some objections, probably going to reach out to the family and see if we can come to some kind of a agreement.
That sounds like a good idea.
I was contacted by a resident in the southeast corner of town about the frequent National Grid outages. Contacted National Grid. The lady, she actually came here from Batavia, met with me. She went over the outages. They have come up with a plan to apparently improve or fix the situation. And they're going to let me know so that I can let our residents know when that's going to happen. But they feel that something, even National Grid felt something is necessary. We've got some birdhouses on Semmel Road, thanks to one of our residents. And our in bloom flowers, Brooke Buckland from our planning and zoning did the flower bed in front of the community center. Absolutely, very nice job. That refund from New York State when we were at the Association of Towns, thanks to Denise, we got it from it's from a cleaning service. We're going to get it. It's for $130. It's better than nothing. Let's see, I've had two requests to present to the town board, one being the, from Strong Hospital, the mobile stroke unit. Like to come out and do a short presentation to explain, how it all works. I mean, I've heard of it. Thank goodness I haven't had it for any firsthand knowledge, but, they they would like to come out, so I'll probably schedule that for July. And then also Monroe County Aging Alliance, that lady is a resident of the town of Mendon, and she has been presenting to several towns on, the aging population and the needs of the aging population. So, if, I'll probably schedule both of those in the near future, depending on their availability. And I did talk to Lila at the library to kind of close the loop on that, and she talked about the sustainable, signing up for something, sustainable, and I explained to her that the ECB is working on that, and it's really outside of her, prerogative to talk about the building, because the building belongs to the town of Mendon. Anything she can do inside with the operation of the library and things like that, or make suggestions, hey, use of different light bulbs, that kind of thing, we certainly would want to hear it. But I also said that the ECB really has taken on the lead for this, because the initiative is downwide, not just for one building or one department. So I explained that to her. And that concludes my communication.
Thank you.
Move on to supervisor's monthly report.
Make a motion to acknowledge receipt of the supervisor's monthly report for April 2025.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Town clerk's monthly report.
I would, sorry, Fran, stepping all over you.
Go for it.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge receipt of the town clerk's monthly report for May 2025, showing receipts and disbursements in the amount of $11,460.28.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of regular meeting held on May 12, 2025 as presented.
Second. Oh, go ahead.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Budget adjustments.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget adjustments as delineated in our agenda.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Vouchers?
I'll make a motion to approve all claims and vouchers numbered 25-243 to 25-254 on general abstract 2506A in the amount of $28,488.52.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
We'll make a motion to approve all claims on vouchers numbered 25-255 to 25-306 on general abstract 2506B in the amount of $55,072.03.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Yeah.
Make a motion to approve all claims on vouchers numbered 25-200 to 25-219 on highway abstract, sorry, that's a cut and paste. Highway abstract 25-06 in the amount of $20,458.92.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
And make the board aware that library vouchers numbered 25-080 to 25-086 on library abstract 2506A in the amount of $1,914.99 were presented to the town board for payment. And also library vouchers numbered 25-087 to 25-095 on library abstract 25-06B in the amount of $2,500 $557.78 were presented to the town board for payment.
Thank you. Next is a proposed local law regarding temporary signs. This is to establish a public hearing.
Make a motion to establish a public hearing to consider a proposed local law, amending town code chapter 260 zoning, article 10, sign regulations to regulate temporary signage. 7 p.m. or soon thereafter, as said hearing can be convened. Monday, July 14th, 2025, at the town hall.
Second.
Any discussion?
Did submit some comments. I didn't know if you wanted to wait till the hearing to discuss. They're similar to the comments we discussed about
Yeah,
at the last meeting.
I don't know if it's up to you.
Just wanted to put them in writing so that you had them.
You want to send them to Brian or?
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
So,
I guess.
So,
Just one thing I'll note. I saw one comment about square footage, which based on discussions from last time was changed in the draft. From 3 square
Okay.
feet to 6 square feet, regardless of side or double sided, so I'll just mention that.
thanks. Appreciate it.
Anybody else? I would just say that, I've been working on this for quite a while and it's frustrating. Because there's not really a one size fits all regarding this, because the minute you read what the sign is, pardon me if I'm wrong, and you can't decide that if it's appropriate or not. And trying to be fair to everybody, if you drive around town right now, there's all these signs for graduates that are out right on the shoulder of the road, that kind of thing. Bruce Fullerton and I went out, picked up signs for the carnival. We went around, picked up all the illegal, most of the illegal signs that we could find. The more I dive into it, the more frustrated I get, because I almost feel like it's gotta be one way or the other. Either you don't have any regulations or you don't allow any. But then what about real estate signs and things like that, are commonplace? So I do find it frustrating. It may not be perfect, and I certainly would love to hear what people think. But I also know that most of the time when these things happen, the only time we hear from the public is after words, when their sign has been removed or they receive a letter telling their sign is illegal. So, and I also am cognizant of everybody's right of free speech and First Amendment. And so I feel like we're trying to walk a line, and I think this is at least a start, if not, hopefully it's something that will work out very well for the town, but I also find it kind of frustrating.
Agree with your frustration, but I think at the same time, we spent a lot of time coming up with the draft on this, and I think it's time to hear what the public has to say.
I agree.
I know those, there are a couple of signs one on Mendon-Shire at 64, and then another one as you leave the Mendon-Shire area on Fountain Hill.
Mhm.
It's not too bad this year, but in the past, I could not see to get out. And the sign is so big, it's like 10 feet tall. And there's one person's name on it this year. But
People concerns like that's when they talk about time, manner, place restrictions.
and it's up
Nothing
usually
to do
until
with
August,
content.
and I think that we could put a limit on it, July 4th, okay. Get it down maybe to July 4th. We don't need to celebrate, and don't misunderstand me, I love all these kids, but someone's gonna have an answer.
Do we have anything
it's
from
like cycle.
Cory or from you, like maybe just a general idea of the number of complaints we've received on temporary signs in the town of Mendon? I mean, is it a thing?
I would defer to Cory on that. I mean, there have been times that I have received a lot of emails and phone calls about temporary signs. It usually revolves around some type of activity the first Tuesday after the first Monday of November. But No, other than that, very minimal, very.
At the same time, it doesn't look great to have sign it, and a lot of these things, these events are 6 months in the past.
Right.
People are good, they're pretty good about putting them up, not so good about
Right.
taking them down, garage sale that was, 6 months ago, still on a telephone pole. And, but, this time of year, Corey's busy. I had a couple hours one morning, Brent and I went out, I wanted to do before we got to the carnival weekend, because, we get a lot out of town, out of town, look nice. So, we went out and did it, we'll probably do it again. So,
And that was based on obviously our current legislation.
yes,
So
yes,
there may be an issue with enforcement of our current legislation.
yes.
Mhm.
Yes, and
Does that take care of some of these problems?
some, yes. We could probably put somebody out there every day. Well, maybe not every day, a couple times a week, picking up signs.
And I understand staffing issues, but if we can't enforce the legislation we have now, and we're gonna add more legislation on, you know me, I hate adopting a law that we can't
We can't
enforce.
afford it, right? I
It's
agree.
it's a waste of time. So, and I hate legislation that's directed to a particular thing. Not the overall sign issue, but a particular signs and things like that. So I would wanna look at it hard. I definitely think we need to hear what people think
The public,
in the
yes.
public. And I would love it if a lot of people came and gave their
opinions.
impression.
It's not about roosters.
It's not, yeah, definitely. So those are my concerns. Once you take the content out of it,
Valid concerns,
I don't know what we can do.
valid concerns. You've got a second. Thank you. All in favor of the establishing of public hearing?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Thank you. This next one is a proposal of law regarding residency for the deputy highway superintendent. And establishing public hearing.
I'll make a motion to establish a public hearing. Consider a proposed local law amending town code chapter 58, officers, employees to alter the residency restrictions for deputy town highway superintendent. Pardon me, deputy town superintendent of highways, 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as that hearing can be convened Monday, July 14, 2025. The Menton Town Hall.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Just Brian's gonna follow up on the question of if they're eligible to,
For permissive referendum, which would, if it was
Yeah.
before it adopted, then there would just be that period of time before it. Like allow that.
yeah,
Confirm
and
that.
and I do think that's also a valid question of, can that person serve in that role?
Awaiting that time.
Oh, I just like, can an out of town deputy highway superintendent, for whatever reason, assume the role of highway superintendent? If they're an out of town.
Yes, so there, the attorney general's, the comptroller's office had an opinion on that, because I did research that to make sure, and yes, other communities
Okay.
have
Oh,
made
good.
this residency and expanded it out for this specific position, and they've come down and issued opinion saying that it's okay for that position.
Thank you. That was a good question.
Anything? Anything else on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next is a proposed local law that, regarding chapter 138, this, you haven't seen it long enough, so it's not being moved to public hearing. But we did want to share that tonight, and then I did want to, Brent's kind of taking, he has taken lead on that, so Brent, I would ask you to lead the discussion.
I think it was at least a couple years ago now that the HPC went to update their map. And noticed that there was discrepancies between chapter 138, 159. So we tried to, we kind of put a pause on that map update so we could rectify the discrepancies. We I think, Jim, as we discussed the other night, instead of trying to get these chapters to agree, it's better just to have them as standalone chapters. 159 is how the HPC designates local historic properties. 138 is EPOD that mitigates impacts of new development on these historic properties. So there's two different things. So what we did is we first established that. There was some questions in the past from the HPC if they had the authority to review the impact on New York State registers and the federal registers. So if you'll see in 138-28, we've tried to move forward with some language that clears that up and solidifies the local authority to review the impacts of new development on the state and the federal. And then we also added section 138-30, standards of review, clean that up a little bit. And then section C specifically outline what the HPC would be commenting on: the proximity and visibility of proposed activities, the general design and character and appropriateness, and any other factors which the reviewer determines. And then this will give once they make those recommendations to the planning board can follow along and understand what the HPC was reviewing. So we're hoping this straightens out some of the discrepancies and some of the confusion.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Move on to number
14.
14.
14.
Or there.
Make a motion to approve purchase of a 2025 Freightliner as described in our agenda.
Thank you.
At a cost not to exceed $336,021 per Onondaga County contract 0010914.
Second.
Any discussion?
I think to what we heard in public comment is this would be the third purchase this year. There's no guarantee that the truck will be here this year. It could be here next year. If we got it here this year, we would be doing pretty good. This is what I was told from the highway department. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tom. And we have also a couple of years ago, for then the highway mechanic, he suggested that instead of going on a 10-year cycle of replacing vehicles, that we went on a 7-year cycle of replacing vehicles. He said, I can't come up with the specifics right now off the top of my head. Basically, what it was is the cost of maintaining and repairing from year 7 to year 10 starts to escalate. Okay, so if we can move them before those costs start to escalate, we get a higher trade-in value, and it actually costs less for the town to purchase vehicles on a 7-year cycle instead of a 10-year cycle. And right now, we're trying to catch up on some of those purchases because we've been on a 10-year cycle. So we have to make some multiple purchases to get on the 7-year.
The other thing is with COVID, we got off cycle with replacement of particular equipment, and things were not available. But with the head mechanic, of the highway department, he and I have talked several times. We're going to be reviewing the capital improvement plan so that it is more in line with where we are today. And one of the reasons why that is not subject to permissive referendum is we don't know if we're going to get it this year. If we took the money out of reserves and put it into the DB fund and we didn't get the truck by the end of the year, that money would roll over to fund balance, and that is not its intended purpose.
Yeah, I appreciate you explaining that. And I mean, basically, we have the money for it. It's in
Yes.
reserves. It's nothing we have to raise more funds to purchase this truck. We have it. We just might not use it till next year.
Yes, that's the concern is that we get it this year.
Thank you.
It's kind of. Yes. Description, that's it.
No, it makes sense, yeah.
Any other questions, concerns? All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Okay, next is Highway Department, this is purchase of a loader.
make a motion to purchase a 2025 Caterpillar Next Gen 938 wheel loader from Milton Cab at a cost not to exceed $155,244 per New York State OGS and JPA Heavy Equipment Contract PC 69406. And, do you want me to do the rest? Okay.
I'll second.
So they've had a lot of problems with the current loader. It's about 5-6 years old right there.
So,
6. And they looked at, there were other loaders available. But this was the one that they prefer because it has warranty and they're gonna come out and they're gonna basically rust proof it annually as part of the contract, and hopefully we get, increase the longevity of this. So that hopefully the town can keep it for a while. One we have now is obviously we're getting 110,000, so it's operating. But by the same token, it has accumulated some fairly costly repair bills. Anything else, Tom, I missed?
no. There's a 7-year bumper to bumper warranty.
7 years.
And if I'm not mistaken, there is a scale that's inside the bucket that is standard with it and is covered under that 7-year bumper warranty. And they do the maintenance on it, don't they? Besides recipe, they come out and do everything on it.
Really current.
For the full 7 years? That's right.
That's really. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next we have National Fuel. This is a temporary construction easement.
Make a motion to grant National Fuel Gas Distribution Corporation the right to the temporary use of town-owned property at 15 Monroe Street for temporary workspace for construction equipment, vehicles, and other miscellaneous pipeline-related equipment associated with the installation of a pipeline by National Fuel, and authorizes the supervisor to execute any necessary documents.
Second.
So they contacted us. They're gonna do any type of, lawn damage. They'll take care of it. I'm planning on damaging anything, but if something happens, they would take care of it. Kevin from our Buildings and Grounds has been in touch with the representative of National Fuel. It's at the youth center, so it's not in operation. I will be letting the Girl Scouts know the exact dates of this because they're using the front of that building frequently, I guess I'll call it. And so that they're aware that that's going on. Also notify the library. Because it is in their vicinity, so to speak. Other than that, they're not, I forgot what Kevin told me, they're not gonna be there that long. I think a week or so.
I suggest that we take some pre-construction pictures of buildings and just trees in general. It's usually easier if something does happen.
Sure.
Or idea. Or sometimes I guess the tree already looked like that.
Right.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? You. Next is the commemoration of General Lafayette's visit to Mendon.
Give it a shot. Whereas on June 7th, 1825, General Marie Joseph Paul Yves Roch Gilbert du Motier de Lafayette, the Marquis de Lafayette, that's my French class, the esteemed nation's guest and hero of 2 revolutions, passed through the young Genesee country during his momentous farewell tour of the United States. And whereas General Lafayette's journey from Rochester to Canandaigua brought him, albeit briefly, through the very heart of the town of Mendon. And whereas this short passage connected our pioneering community directly to a living symbol of liberty, patriotism, and the enduring spirit of the American Revolution. And whereas the foresight and ideals embodied by Lafayette's sacrifices for freedom are a foundational part of our American heritage, inspiring generations then and now. And whereas it is fitting and proper that the town of Mendon formally acknowledge and perpetually remember this historic visitation, which, though fleeting, left an indelible mark on our local consciousness and linked us to a national narrative of gratitude and admiration. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the town board of the town of Mendon, New York, that June 7th be recognized as a day of historical significance for our community, honoring the esteemed visit of General Lafayette. The board encourages all citizens to reflect upon the ideals of liberty and self-governance for which he stood, and to cherish the historical connections that bind the town to the broader story of American independence.
Second,
Any discussion?
I think we should all get a day off work on June 7th.
Brent, thanks for attending.
Honored to go,
So. Shoot.
although Jim did it much better. He paid a lot more attention in French class than I did.
I just made that up, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Back to public comment.
One question. Would it be possible, or would the town board consider, like with Brent, when he's giving his notes like this, he's reading from script. Okay, would it be possible, it's so lengthy, would it be possible to make it a part of the minutes? Kind of like in a trial or anything, if somebody on the stand reads something, they put it in
It is.
testimony. I mean,
It's already there.
what he's, all of his notes and comments from his meeting.
I don't know if it's word for word, but it's there.
I don't know if I've ever seen
Anybody else? Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.